I have 3 books and then a bonus book that I want to recommend to you as my top 3 recommendations in books that you should read right now during quarantine. What's up, everybody? This is Josh from Practical Theism. Hope everybody's doing well during this quarantine crisis. I don't know how it's going in your area, but I hope you are well, safe, and continuing to find the little joys and the beauties during this quarantine time. Definitely trying to do that as we're at home with stay home initiatives. Looks like we might even be extended out further into the year, into like July or something, but it's all speculation. I think things need to start getting back to normal as much as possible, but I know we want to temper that with the safety of everyone around us. But I thought it'd be interesting for those of you who might not have some new routines during their quarantine time to give you some kind of top book recommendations for reading during this time. I don't know about you, but this has been like a time to settle down, hunker down into the things that you've wanted to get into for quite some time, and reading is one of them. This is a great opportunity for you to continue to enhance and grow your spirituality and continue to hunker down into scripture and also hunker down into different works and writings that have been just instrumental and that can have a really big impact on your spiritual growth. So I have 3 books and then a bonus book that I want to recommend to you as my top 3 recommendations in books that you should read right now during quarantine. And for those of you who are wondering, I'm going to post the links down below in the description, so you can go check them out. You can purchase them. Really easy to get your hands on them. I just want to make it as easy as possible for you. So the first one is St. John Paul the Great. Now, a lot of these, while they are going to pertain probably a lot more to Catholics, I think they can be recommendations for Christians of all stripes. But the first one is St. John Paul the Great, obviously the late Pope, who is now a saint, had his, inauguration into sainthood. This is an absolutely phenomenal book. It's a biography on the life of Pope St. John Paul II. And he lived an extraordinary life, everything from living through the Holocaust to basically everything that happened in Poland and his troubles and trials and how that led him and shaped him into the man that he was, to be able to ultimately go on and make such an impact as Pope through the Second Vatican Council. Jason Everett is the one who kind of wrote it, and he just did such a good job. I remember I was reading this and I couldn't put it down. It's so well written, it's so engaging. It's got some pictures in there. It goes from his early life all the way through his death, and it's a really powerful story about what God's Spirit can do in a person, even in the midst of great trials and troubles. And it's so appropriate for this time, because in the times of greatest suffering is when the saints really are formed and born. And this is a time where you can be a saint too. Any of us can be a saint. We have an opportunity to rise up and take up that calling in a new light. So that's the first one, St. John Paul the Great, His 5 Loves by Jason Everett. Second one is by one of my favorite catechists and theologians, if you will. It's by Brant Petrie. And this, I think, is very appropriate, very much needed in today's world, and it's called The Case for Jesus. It's kind of interesting. I've been dialoguing with a number of people on this channel, and there's still this rampant skepticism of whether or not the biblical books were actually authored by who the church says that they were authored by. And this basically sets out to dispel that. The case for Jesus: was Jesus Christ who he said he was? And was he who history kind of points him to be? Or was he just kind of some figment, some alignment with some Egyptian gods that Christianity transposed into the Christian form of what they would know to be Jesus? This does a fantastic job, in my estimation, of dispelling that, using scripture, using history, using the early church writings. And Brant Petrie he's great. It's a very engaging book. Not super long. It's about, let me see here, it's about 200 pages. So about a 200-page book. It's got a foreword by Bishop Barron, which obviously is one of my faves. or an afterword by Bishop Barron's at the very end of it. But this is just such a needed book. I encourage you to read it. Really, really powerful, especially during quarantine time. Last one is by Bishop Barron himself. I did a review on this book, but I still think it's so powerful. And this, again, going back to Pope St. John Paul the Great, this is a time to really, as Bishop Barron puts in this title, a time to light a fire on the earth. And this is something that the Word on Fire Ministries that Bishop Barron does is doing, and it's really, really powerful. This is a powerful story just about some of his upbringing and how kind of he has gone into doing his ministry, and obviously using the culture for the culture, right? Using the culture to expand ministry and expand the conversation of our faith and to engage more people in that conversation. This is an absolutely fantastic book. A bit of a read. It's not too heady either, though. He did a great job keeping it pretty light, but it's written in very much an interview form. So it's an interview with John L. Allen Jr., who interviews a lot of Catholic people. And so it's to light a fire on the earth, proclaiming the gospel in a secular age, utilizing the whole host of multimedia and social media to basically proclaim the gospel. So fantastic book. Absolutely recommend it. And if you want a bonus treat, this is going to be for those of you who really want to hunker down in that quarantine life. But St. Augustine's Confessions, this is a book that you definitely want to get your hands on. St. Augustine, one of the great doctors of the church, 4th century, and he is just so instrumental and influential in a lot of Catholic thought, in the expansion and development of the understanding of the faith that was passed down. So there's a lot that we can glean from him in understanding. What's really interesting that I find when you read Augustine, you read Aquinas, you have these issues that they were working with at the time that have come around full circle. You still see some of those arguments kind of manifesting themselves today. So St. Augustine's Confessions, definitely want to pick this one up. I'll get some more book recommendations because I got a whole library over here of things that are great things to read, but I thought this would be a good place to start. None of these are too heady theology-wise. The Case for Jesus is probably going to be the most heady because it's pulling out some scripture, pulling out a little bit of philosophy, but it's not going so deep that it's like it's over our head, you know. Augustine's Confessions probably going to be a bit more heady for some of you, but there you have it. 3 books in quarantine. Buckle down, get reading, drop some comments. Let me know the books that you're really enjoying right now or that you might recommend to read, and I'll have to take a look at those. Again, links are in the description below, so definitely click on those so you can go over and purchase a few of these copies. And buy a copy, buy one for a friend too. Pass it on, share the faith. Hope everybody's doing well, staying safe. Drop some comments below as well. Hit that like button, pound that subscribe button like you mean it so you can get more of this awesome content. And from all of us here at Practical Theism, we'll catch you next time. Thanks.